It's never gonna change, is it? The staples of the spiral abyss. What makes something the best? Is it their highest peaks? Is it the sustained excellence and versatility? Maybe it's a combination of both of them. For characters that have been around since the very beginning, you would expect them to have fallen off by now. I mean, just look at Diluc and Venti, two characters that have fallen off heavily from their prime. In a game like Genshin, what do you need to not be powercrept? How come newer characters like Sora or Faruzan have more limited usage? This is the never-ending dominance of the big three. First, let's talk about what these characters have to offer. As a support, Bennett actually packs quite a punch, making him a decent DPS as well, but the main reason you would want to use him is for his burst. Bennett provides an insane attack buff and consistent, strong healing. His pyro application is also decent, with the main drawback being that he has to be on field. Bennett gives you a little bit of everything: damage buffs, and healing. Xingqiu, on the other hand, offers weaker but more support than Bennett, with the upside of supplying a lot more damage. He exploits the 3-hit rule of ICD, giving your target constant hydro application. He provides a small but still present amount of healing and some underrated damage resistance. His second constellation also lowers the hydro resistance of enemies, and he does all of this while being off-field for an extremely long amount of time with really good uptime as well. Question: who's the main DPS? Xiangling. She's the main DPS. She's always the main DPS. There's a reason why this copy pasta exists.
I can't take it anymore. I'm sick of Xiangling. I try to play Diluc. My Xiangling deals more damage. I try to play Yuemiya. My Xiangling deals more damage. I try to play Sino. My Xiangling deals more damage. I want to play Clay. Her best team has Xiangling. I want to play Raiden. Child. They both want Xiangling. She grabs me by the throat. I fish for her. I cook for her. I give her the catch. She isn't satisfied. I pull engulfing lightning. I don't need this much ER. She tells me, give me more field time. She grabs Bennett and forces him to throw himself off enemies. You just need to funnel me more. I can deal more damage with Homa. I can't pull for Homa. I don't have enough primo gems. She grabs my credit card. It declines. Guess this is the end. She grabs Gauba. She says Gauba. Get them. There is no hint of sadness in his eyes. Nothing but pure. No ICD pyro application. What a cruel world.
I don't even know what else to say. Xiangling's damage output and consistent pyro application while having barely any field time kinda just makes her good. So why are these characters still not only relevant, but dominant? Well, basically, they're scared.
I'll eat them.
There are two main components to this. One, it's hard to power creep a generalist, and two, Genshin wants specialists. Let's start off with the first point. The way Genshin's endgame is set up is by having two separate teams fighting two separate battles. This is usually approached by having 2 on-field characters and 6 off-field characters. It is, by nature, easier to power creep an on-field character since there are only 2 slots as opposed to 6. And guess what? The big 3 all do not need much field time. Because of this, releasing one character that is arguably better than Xingqiu doesn't really diminish his usage. You just put him on the second team, or just keep him on the same team in favor of another character. Instead, you'd have to release a lot of characters that are better and fulfill the same role, which is just implausible. But even if they did attempt this, what separates these 3 from other characters is their versatility. Hoyoverse has been following a trend with their 4-star characters, giving them great kits at the cost of being specialists as opposed to generalists. Generalists, as the name would imply, are characters that can fit in most teams. Xingqiu, Fischl, Bennett, those guys. Specialists, on the other hand, have higher peaks than generalists, but are limited by the amount of teams that they work in. With the Spiral Abyss changing every couple of weeks, an average player would rather commit to having general characters that they can mix and match into a team, since they don't know who they'll need in the future. A good example of this is Diona. Diona's not a bad unit at all, and can provide pretty good buffs and healing to a team. But Diona has a small niche when you're considering a character's best teams. While Goro is a must-have in a mono-geo team, his lack of versatility makes Diona a safer choice for the average player to build. And that's the thing, the big 3 are generalists, something that newer characters are walking away from, which leads into my second point. Genshin wants specialists. With the main source of income coming from new characters, Hoyoverse wants to make more characters. Usually people look at this and think that Hoyoverse wants power creep. Stronger characters means more people will pull for them, which means more money for them. And while that statement may be true, there is good incentive for Genshin to not power creep. Believe it or not, Genshin still makes money off of reruns, and if you create a character that gets powercrept, the rerun is just not gonna make as much money. Sure, not every player cares about meta, but those that do aren't going to pull. In place of power creep, Genshin wants to create every character to be truly unique. This means that the line between generalists and specialists becomes even thicker. If you want people to pull for every single character, you have to give them a good reason why. You need to make good characters, but only in their specialty. If you make a new character that heals you and can easily trigger Hyperbloom, then your next Electro healer has to be different. If you make Dory a stationary healer with split scaling and a lot of downtime, nobody's gonna play her. Oh no. To avoid power creeping specialists, you have to make characters that are distinct. If you made a new character that increases physical damage bonus and heals, you're taking away the essence of what makes Mika interesting, and depending on who's better, you'll barely see the other character. So, is the big three going away anytime soon? Probably not. If you power creep a generalist, you may inadvertently power creep a dozen specialists, which goes against Genshin's business model of having a diverse selection of characters to choose from. Since power creeping an off-field character is not only hard but also highly unlikely, I don't see them going away anytime soon. But I think there is one 4-star that is better than the big three. The catch. I'm just kidding, that's cheating. But